Hi there, this is Vahid from VRF Education channel, and it is the 9th session of object-oriented programming in Python. So far, we got familiar with the concept of classes, objects, and fields in Python. And I mentioned that each object in Python, or in general, has a state. And the current state of the object is a combination of the values of the object fields. In order to have a valid object, or even guarantee that your class's objects are valid through the application lifetime, you need to take control over the object's fields value changing. So, what does it mean? Imagine that I create a class named person, and this class has only one field named age. And we all know that in real world, we cannot find anyone with a negative age. But with this class, we can do it. So I can create an instance from this class and assign a negative value to age field. Now, the current state of Vahid is a person with a negative age, and it's not true, and it's not valid. To prevent it, I should take control the way that I assign the value to this field. So how is it possible? I need to restrict the access to the field from outside the class. In OOP terminology, we can do it by making a field private. In Python, to make a field private, you need to add dunder in front of the field name initialization. So this field is not accessible from the outside the class anymore. And if you want to do it, Python interpreter raised an exception and said this field is not accessible from the outside of the class. So this is the first step. And the next step is to create a way to access this field under control. This mechanism is called property in Python, and I'm going to talk about it in next session. And also, private fields are somehow different in Python from other programming languages such as C++ or Java. You can change or you can access to private fields using dunder dict in person class. So it's a very tricky, and I will show you how you can do it. But adding dunder in front of a field or making it private gonna prevent a lot of unwanted change in object states. So let's go to VS Code and check how we can change a field to private and how we can use dunder dict to access them. In previous session, we create a class named basket to model a real basket in our application. And the purpose of this class is to count the number of items inside a basket. So we have a dictionary, we initialize it in the constructor, and then we create a method. And this is the behavior for a basket. We can add something to the basket, okay? And again, we change the way that we can access the item inside these items in order to write much cleaner code and also less amount of code. But there's a big problem here. First of all, let's comment all of these items. We notice that if I and let's rewrite dunder str method, and in this method we just return str self underline items, and here I want to print the basket one. So here I'm gonna add some apples and oranges to this basket. Apple, we have 3 items, and for orange, basket 1, orange equal to 2. Now if I run the application, it says okay, you have 3 apples and 2 oranges, as it's supposed to be. And what if I add something like this, basket.add, I'm gonna write apple in this way, all in capital case. And if I run the application one more time, it says okay, you have 4 apple. Because we add some logic to our add method or set and get items, then whenever we get a key or item, we just cast it to lowercase. So apple in a small case or lowercase or a combination or the same. So this is nothing new, but this one, I can already access the items dictionary inside the basket. And now I can add something like apple equal to 2 to this basket. So as you can see, apple, orange, and apple with capital A at the beginning. So this is a bad thing, and it's completely changed the way that I just added to this class functionality to get access to the underlying dictionary. So we should apply something, some access modifiers in order to prevent direct access to the data behind the class. This access modifier in all programming language, in almost all programming languages, named private members. Private members are the members that only accessible inside the class, not outside the class. So what does it mean? I should change the item's access level in order to be accessible just inside the class. How can I do it? Let's select it and press Ctrl D in VS Code to select them all, because I want to change them simultaneously. And if, oh, I'm sorry, Control, oh, that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Oh, not okay. Let's select it one more time. Control D, 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 D. Okay. Now, if you put a double underscore in front of an item or a variable inside a class, especially in constructor, it changes its access modifier from public to private. Now you can access to this item just inside the class. So if I run the application one more time, let's clear the output and run it one more time, you can see it says attribute error. Basket object has no attribute items. Now this is inaccessible from the outside of the class using some instances. And this is gonna alert the developers, especially those that gonna use our classes, because we might know about the underlying structure and we just use them through the methods and magic methods that we created. But the other one that they do not have any idea about the structure of our class, maybe they just access to the dictionary directly and change the way that we planned to be. So if we just make them private, at runtime, Python interpreter raise an error that this class has no attributes, for example, items. And in the other programming languages, these attributes labeled with private access modifier. But in Python, it just we just use a double underscore at the beginning of the variable. Again, in Python, it's not completely private. We can access it in the other way. So what does it mean? Let's get rid of this. We can't access it. And if I run the application one more time, what's happened? Yeah, it's again work. Apple and orange. We have both of them. Now, let's see the attribute inside the class. Basket, dunder, dict. Dict is a dictionary of all items inside a class. Let's see what we have here. You know, we have something familiar here. We have basket, underline basket, underline items. So everything that we make as private inside a class is declared in this way: underline class name, underline, and the variable names. And you can see we can have access to the item content here. So what if I add another variable here, self.x, for example, self.temp equal to 1. Now I run this code one more time, and you can see we have temp in this dictionary also. As you can see, we can access all object variable, including private ones, using this dictionary. By adding dunder in front of a variable, we just make it private, and we want to restrict it from direct access from outside of the class. And we're not going to guarantee that any other developers that use our classes don't access to these items from this dictionary. And we can also use this dictionary to do some dynamic things and at runtime, and I will talk about it in future in more details. The main purpose of this session is to know how we can make some variables inside a class private and restrict the access to this field from the outside. I hope you enjoy it, and I will be glad to share me your opinion about this session and the whole service in the comment section. Thank you. Goodbye. Till next session.